A little technical thing. I'm back. So, what was I saying? Welcome to my impromptu YouTube live on this lovely Saturday morning. And don't normally do it at that time, but I'm trying different times and days and see what happens. So let's see what happens. For those who are new to my channel and not familiar with me, I'm a therapist and coach, and I come live on both YouTube and TikTok to talk about mindset, mental health, mindfulness, and anything to do with human psychology and human behavior. And I do my best to offer some suggestions, advice, recommendations to anyone who needs some help in any aspect of their life. And so the way that I always start is by reading some posts that I put out on TikTok, and I comment on them. And hopefully by the end of it, I have some interaction, some questions, some people who want me to maybe give them my insight about some problems in their life. So today is the 17th of May. Where are we? Okay. Where am I? I'm a bit lost today. I just I came out of my meditation state not long ago, and I'm still, I think, a bit there. Okay, I'm just going to choose a day at random. I'm a bit confused for some reason. Let's come back here. Okay, so let's try this. Telling people that they have a victim mindset is unproductive, as it only victimizes them furthermore. And this is to basically highlight how many people in the mental health coaching industry often talk about victim mindset. But the way that they say it, sadly, I feel, is often actually making things worse. Because people forget that we don't choose our mindset. We inherit from a mindset based on our environment and our education and our upbringing. And so we want to develop a better mindset if we can, but we don't want to assume that people are choosing to have a victim mindset or a fixed mindset. People are which that we are, and then out of kindness we want to do our best to influence them. But if we tell them that they have a victim mindset, now we're only going to make them feel worse about themselves, and this is not very productive. Next post. Emotional intelligence is not about being better at controlling your emotions. It is about having better emotions when facing the same situations. And so again, now we're back into that place where we are being reminded that emotions are not about control. We cannot control our emotions. Emotional intelligence is about having a good relationship with them and understanding what they mean, why they exist, what they're here for. And as they manifest themselves into our body, we can learn from them, and we can change our associations and our triggers so that we get better emotions when we're facing the same situations next. And finally, the last post that I will read up goes like this. Pranks and banter are often just another way to call playful bullying. If their jokes make you feel uncomfortable, be mindful of this, and never allow for humor to be used as a pretext to control or hurt you. So we don't realize that pranks and banter are just habits that we accept because it's always been around, but very often, more often than not, they are actually some sort of subconscious humiliation, bullying. If men are bantering with other men, it is often a subconscious signal of domination. They want to highlight and signal who is the dominant male, and we don't need that anymore in 2025. That's it. So, guys, is Is there anyone of you who would like to ask me anything about anything at all? Do we have, who do we have? Redskin. Oh, hello. Good morning. Good morning to you. Embryony said hi. Hello, Embryony. Hello from Embryony. Hello back at you. Shivam. Bro. Okay, bro, back at you. Shivam, practicing how to speak in classes. Okay, all right. What do you mean by practicing how to speak? Are you telling me that you are doing some work about the way you communicate with people, or do you want to ask me about some ways to communicate better with people? We can talk about it if you want. Communication is mainly non-verbal. I think only 30% of our communication is verbal. And so the things that we say, what we don't realize is that we send a lot of information through our body language, through our facial expression, through the tone of our voice, through the very energy that we radiate. And so whatever intention that we have, some people will have more or less ability to feel it, which is why it's very important to not believe that we can trick or fool people, because more often than not, people have some secret radar that can capture things that are not said, some level of intuition and emotional intelligence. And so, yep. I think it's going to be a little bit slow because there's not many people yet. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to keep reading some posts that I've written and commenting on them, and hopefully at some point I will chit chat with some of you, and if not, it's okay. I can always resume my day doing other things, and I come back some other time, some other days. Okay, let's try this one. Discrimination is the belief that putting others down will somehow elevate you. And so a lot of people who put other people down, they don't realize that they do this because it kind of compartmentalizes people. Some people are better, some people are lesser. If you can discriminate, it means that there's a whole category of people that, for whatever arbitrary reason, are inferior to you. And so when you discriminate, you are subconsciously reminding yourself that you're better than them. Which is not true, of course, because we're all the same, as in we are all born with the same system, and whichever way we express ourselves is a result of a random upbringing that we have never chosen. And so no one can say that they are better just because we are luckier as far as the lottery of the universe is concerned. And learning how to recognize that we're all the same is how we learn how to reconnect not only with people and open up our potential, but also we are reconnecting with ourselves. Let's continue reading my post. Let's try this one. Whether it is a criticism or a compliment, whatever people say to you is always a projection of how they feel about you. And the way you react to it is a projection of your own ego. So basically this is to say how we all project. And whatever that we feel of others is always reminding us of some shadow parts of ourselves that we are trying to avoid. But this goes for everyone. And so it goes both directions. And again, it's back to the principle that we're all the same, as in we all function originally with the same system. The way that system develops is down to the randomness of life. But no one chooses that. So if we can understand the structure of our mind and how we operate, it's much easier to understand ourselves and to understand others. And to reconnect with both. Haha, South Africa, nice point. Thank you. Haha, South Africa. Redskin Garage, do you know why Japan will not speak on war between China and Taiwan? I don't know. I don't know. I don't do much. I'm not much into. I'm not specific when it comes to politics. I understand what is happening now at a general level, but I don't spend extra time studying them, so I wouldn't know. Maybe let's try to add something to say something about this. Okay, why does Japan not speak on war between China and Taiwan? I don't know. But at a general level, I think that people just don't want to get involved because the moment you speak out, you're choosing a side, and and then if problems arise, then you have to take responsibility for having taken that side. There you go. Again, for those who are new to my channel, I'm a therapist and coach, and what I really want to talk about is anything to do with psychology, human behavior, and therapy, and mental health. I can address various topics every now and then, but hopefully I'll get more things to do with my strength, my field of expertise. Rescue Garage, I can't get anyone to really talk or even say if it's really happening. I can't get anyone to really talk or even say if it's really happening. I don't know. I haven't got a clue. I'm sorry, Redskin. Okay. Okay, let me keep going with my post until someone, hopefully, feels the inspiration to ask me something in regards to their psychology. Being emotionally healthy is being sensitive enough to be able to find joy and peace in ordinary experiences. If you need big pleasurable sensory experiences to feel something, then it means that you are numb and disconnected from your body. And so this is often what happens with addiction or with distractions. There's a difference between enjoying doing something and being addicted to it. And for many of us, that is an indicator. If we are not able to be in touch with our body, with enjoying the little things that are happening in our lives, there's something wrong about us, and that's how we end up needing to distract ourselves from our own selves. Haha, South Africa, do you dabble in quantum physics? I understand the principles of them from a psychological and spiritual perspective. I am not a physicist or a quantum physicist, but I can talk about how I used some principles of quantum physics in my life. So it's actually a big conversation that I actually really enjoy. So let's go there. The way that I see it is that reality is an illusion. And I believe that the reality that we're experiencing is only one reality within infinite ones. I believe that there are infinite dimensions that all exist at the same time. And the one that we're going to experience is the one that we have chosen because it's the adventure that we want to experience, is the story that is about us. It's our journey as a human being. And so there you go. but the quantum physics perspective, the quantum field applies to many things, even at a more psychological perspective, because this was quite spiritual. Not everyone are going to agree with that. But from a psychological perspective, we can use the parallel of quantum physics, as in the fact that no one is experiencing the same reality. And so quantum physics is that whatever that you observe is defined by the position of the observer. And so in life it's the same. Every single person that exists on this planet has a different experience of whatever they're going through each moment. Even if they're observing the same thing, the experience would be different based on the filters, the subconscious emotional triggers, the belief that they have, and the very perspective physically that they will be watching that thing from. And so this is another way to demonstrate quantum physics. There's not one universal truth and reality. There's only the experience that we have in this moment based on X, Y, Z. And everyone has got a different experience. And so we are back into that place where we say that whatever you observe depends on your perspective. And this is very useful in psychology because it means that whatever you go through is only your interpretation of that thing. And so we're not limited by our environment. We are actually choosing it based on subconscious filters. So we can change how we feel about that experience. We can change the very experience. by learning how to change our perspective. And those are the premises of therapy, healing, and personal growth. The only one thing that we really need to know is that we can't change reality as it is, but we can change how we look at it. And by doing so, we also alter our reality. Hope it makes sense. Yeah. Do you find this interesting? Haha, South Africa. Redskin Garage. Well, I never thought of that. Okay. I can expand on that if you want. Whatever is happening in our perceived reality goes through a filter. Your brain lives in a box called the skull, and it has no access to reality. It only has the gossips that our senses are going to tell it. So whatever we see, smell, hear, feel from the outside, those are going to send some electrical signals to the brain. And then the brain is going to make up a reality based on that. But those data, which is the electrical signal, only becomes information through our belief. And those beliefs, they are accumulated from the moment you are born, all throughout our childhood and young adulthood. And so we all have lots of subconscious bias that are going to distort whatever data we pick up from the outside. And that creates our reality. It's like that allegory from Plato, the allegory of the cave. Some people live in a cave and they can never experience what is outside. They can only see the shadow of the outside that is being projected from the sun into a wall. And it's very similar. Your brain is in a cave. And so this is one of the downfall of humanity. We believe, or we want to believe, that there's one universal truth and reality that is fixed and that is the same for everyone. And it's not like that. But because we want to believe that there's one truth and reality, that creates all the problems in our lives. Everyone wants for the truth to be the truth. And so people fight, people kill each other, people try to control one another, people manipulate people just because of that. They need to know that the truth is the truth so that they have a sense of control. Otherwise, they will feel lost in the world and they will feel very unsafe. But if we can accept that everyone has got a different reality each moment, then we can expand our mind. We can understand that there's my experience, there's yours, there's theirs, and it's okay. We can all cohabitate. We can all understand each other, and we don't need to try to put others into domination, control them, overcome them. We can cohabitate. Now, of course, if some people have some psychological traits that could be harmful to others, there's the law for this. We need to protect each other to stay safe together, create a society that functions together. But understanding that we are all different and not a single person experiences the same reality as anyone else is a game changer. Haha, South Africa, I do. Thanks, fantastic, thank you. Brandon McAlpin, I feel like I've seen you before on TV somewhere. Aha. Please, don't be naughty. I'm trying to help people here. Please be kind. Michael Wayne Martin. If you ever feel useless, remember that your microwave has 7 buttons. All right, okay. Truth is subjective, facts are not. There's a difference. This is the thing. This is what people think and believe. There's not fact. There's your fact. Everyone has got different fact. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Some people, many of us, were conditioned, programmed to believe that there is a truth. Fact is the truth. Truth is the belief. But it's not like that. Even facts are contextual. Everything exists within a contextual. Nothing is universal. And so, for instance, gravity is a truth, but only from the scientific perspective. It is a scientific truth. But for someone who maybe has some mental health problems or who is hallucinating or he is high, for that person, that may not be the truth. And so what it means is that not everyone will agree on that truth. Right? It is a scientific truth. I believe in science. It's just an example. Facts are only, again, contextual. But very often when people talk about facts, they're coming from a place of fear. You can't tell me that that truth is not, that fact is not the truth. Well, it depends. It depends on the frame of mind and the perspective that the person that is talking about this comes from. Right? And so even facts are, are the type of language that people who live in the fear of losing control use. Haha, South Africa. Maybe there are no truth per se, maybe only perception. Yes, this is exactly what I'm trying to say. There is no truth, there are only perception, but they become a truth. And there are many perceptions where people are going to kind of agree on. So it's going to be a general consensus, and there will be what we decide is the truth. But there will be still always some people who disagree with that, or maybe some people who would disagree with that for one moment. But regardless of how many, a truth is only universal if everyone agrees with it all the time. And so in that sense, there's no universal truth. Jennifer, good morning from Scotland. Hello, Jennifer McCarthy from Scotland. How are you doing? Michael, message retracted. We can talk more about this, Michael, if you want. I'm not attacking anyone. I'm demonstrating what I understand. And this is the thing, if your truth is that facts are facts, I accept that it's your truth, but it's not my truth. Right? And that's the difference. It's not about whichever truth is better or not. It's about whether or not we're able to accept that everyone has got different truth or not. It's a different conversation. Michael, 2 + 2 = 4. Fact, 6, maybe 9, depending on where you're standing. Truth. So this is the thing. Again, it's not 2 + 2 could equal 5 to some people. Maybe not you. Maybe not someone who is clear-minded and likes their mathematics. But I don't know if you've read that book called The 1984 from George Orwell. And he's using that as an example. There's a person that is controlled by the government and tortured to be brainwashed. And eventually that person, called Winston Smith, at the end says, now I can understand how 2 + 2 = 5. For that person, it's possible because he has created some bias. And this is what a lot of people experience. We have a lot of subconscious bias that create cognitive distortion. And for those people, whatever seems like mathematical and logical for everyone else is not. And so that's what I'm saying. From a math perspective, 2 + 2 = 4. Yes, it's a fact. But for people who are not able to comprehend that or not in that frame of mind, it is not their truth. So it's not a fact for them. And so therefore, it is not a universal truth. Does it make sense? I know that it's tricky. It's difficult to get our head around this when we first start to talk about that conversation. But it's really much what I'm trying to explain and expose here. But very often, when we've been conditioned to believe something, also, we need to defend it because it's part of us, it's part of our personality. So it's tricky, it's hard for some people to create some space and see things from a different angle. South Africa. In quantum physics, the wavelength collapses when not viewed. Exactly, precisely. So things can be particle or waves depending on whether it's observed or not. And so nothing is predictable always. Everything depends on the position of the observer and the tool that they will use to measure that thing that they're observing. Michael, in 1984, they are told the truth that they believe are facts. Chocolate rations have been increased from 5 to 4 a day. You are talking about something else. You're deflecting what I'm talking about, right? You're talking about another thing to tell me that you have read the book, but you are deflecting what I said. At the very end, Winston Smith accepts that he can actually get his head around the fact that 2 + 2 = 5. I'm literally recycling your analogy. But again, very often we do this, and it doesn't mean that you're a bad person or that you're stupid or anything like that. We all do this because we need to protect our ego. We need to protect what we stand for, what we said, what we believe in, and it's just a reaction that we have. But if you can breathe and maybe change your physical state, if you are a bit like that, and realize, instead of trying to fight back, instead of trying to defend myself and explain my thing, maybe I can expand my mind and try to understand what he's saying. In conversation, there are two types of mindset that we can have. We can have the scout mindset or the warrior mindset. The scout mindset is, I'm going to gather information and we're going to share notes with the other person and see if we can learn something from each other. A warrior mindset, on the other hand, is I'm going to win. I don't care about what we talk about. I just want to win. They're wrong. I'm going to prove them wrong. I'm going to type the last word. It's a different mindset, and you can tell the difference from the words that I used. And so, again, I'm not trying to denounce you. I'm just explaining how things goes, how I see things, and hopefully we not take it personally, and we can have a conversation. Right? I'm not here to antagonize people, but just to explain the mechanics of the mind. And this is my perspective. And if you don't accept it, it's okay. It's not a problem. I wish you a fantastic day. I have no problem with anyone, but it's just really about learning how to expand our mind as opposed to creating more conflict, friction, and division. I never try to convince anyone. I don't have interest in that because I understand the mind. I understand subconscious bias. I understand belief. I understand all of those things. And some of us are so trapped into a system that is rigid and fear-based, control-based, that it's not possible to expand the mind in that moment. So I don't know. I hope that you're not that person. And if you are, I wish you a fantastic day, but I don't believe that we'll be able to continue the conversation together. Haha, South Africa. Maybe we're programmed to believe that we are. Yes, this is the thing. We are programmed to believe certain things, and we will follow a program. And so, if we have been brought up in an education that is very strict, rigid, and it's all about fact, people who don't respect fact, they're bad. They should be ashamed of themselves. They're weak, they're inferior, they're stupid. Then, for those people, it's going to be impossible not to defend their fact as a universal truth. Brad, hello, new sub. Thank you, Brad. How are you doing? Thank you for subscribing. Atla, what is your height and weight? I'm not sure how this is relevant to the vibe of that live, but I can tell you, I think I'm 1 meter 72 or 73, something like that. And my weight, I haven't weighed myself for a long time. I think I'm about 90 kilo. Sushan, would you rather watch a tree grow or a knee grow? I watch trees all the time, so probably trees. I love watching trees. I meditate in parks and gardens. I watch trees, bushes, flowers, plants, animals, and nature. And so, although it's a silly question, I'm not sure about that game. I'm going to give an answer, and I choose trees. Michael, a fact is verifiable beyond human perception. It will remain that way, whether a human observer is or not. A truth is based on personal experience. No. A fact, everything is contextual. Everything contextual. But I believe, you know what? I'm not going to argument with you because you are going to go in that direction like everyone else. And so this is the thing. Whenever we disagree with someone, people are going to use a certain type of language and perspective. And if I abide by that, I'm going to just waste my time because I stated my point. And my point is clear. And if you don't get it, you don't get it, and it's okay. If you get it, it's fantastic. It's even better. If not, it's not a problem at all. You don't have to agree with me. Let's agree to disagree. Okay. I don't want to justify, to convince, to explain. If someone doesn't get it the first time, then it means that they have a subconscious bias. And again, we talked about the warrior mindset, right? And the words that you use are precisely reflecting that. And so I'm interested in conversation, but the tone that you use would show whether or not you are as well or not. A fact is not. So let me try to see. No, a fact is not verifiable beyond human perception, not at all. a fact is only exist when there is a human perception in the first place, and the human perception is tainted by myriads of things, right? Anyway, let's move on. Sushan said hi. Hello, Sushan. Sushan, would you rather watch a Trigro or a Negro? Ah, I get it. You're a troll. You get me to say the N word. Okay. This is very mean. This is very nasty. This is very petty. This is very naughty. So I'm going to get rid of you. Okay. Report. Hate speech. Okay. So ignore whatever Sushan said. This is, no, this is Sushan. Well, that person is gone anyway. I get it. Gosh, trolls can be very, very clever, as in finding new ways to trick people. Anyway, and I'm going to block that person. Remove. Okay, remove. I don't know if it blocks it. Never mind. Let's move on. Atla, are you jacked? I don't know what you mean. You mean, do I have muscles? Yes, I do. I do train. Hey, who asked that? Lol. Someone called Sushan. And I don't appreciate that kind of humor. I find it very, very offensive. Because if I was a person of black ethnicity, I would be really unhappy with that. And so, there you go. Michael, I don't think either of us is bad or unintelligent. I just enjoy this kind of discussion. All right, okay, fantastic. In that case, just stick with that. Okay, so if you come from a good place, we can expand that. So let's try one more argument. Give me an argument, and I can try to maybe explain how I see it from my perspective. Atla, he made you say the N-word. Yeah, I just realized this too late. But it's okay. It's not too late. I realized it, and then I get rid of the guy, and that's it. Thank you. Yeah. I'm laughing at the whole situation, but I don't find it funny per se. I find it very, very sad that people find this funny, because people have suffered. Like whole generations, lots of people have suffered from slavery, from racism, and still do. And so those are not topics that I find entertaining, lighthearted, or funny. People who have no empathy for them would, and yeah. I used to be one of them. I used to enjoy racist jokes. I used to be racist. I used to be homophobic. I used to be transphobic. I used to be sexist. I used to be ableist. I used to be all of those things. But I've learned how to change, because we are what our environment teaches us to be. And so I grew up in an environment where a time and a place where people were like that. But then I realized that it's wrong. I don't like it. People are discriminating on me. Why would I think it's okay for me to do this back at other people? And so, yeah. People who are very young or not necessarily very young, but people who don't see any other people than their people. So if their family and friends are all like that, it's going to be hard for them to realize this even. So yeah, there are many factors to take into consideration, but the main thing is to choose what sort of people you want to have in your life. And for me, people who are still laughing at those sort of jokes, they don't belong to my world. So I zap them, and I do my best to keep them away from me. Aha. Haha, South Africa. I must run. You are amazing. I subscribed. Can't wait to catch up with you again. Thank you so much. Haha, South Africa. It's very kind of you. I appreciate your support, and hopefully we can have a chat next time. Hey, where are you from, wise man? I was born in Paris, in France. My genetics are Chinese, if you must ask, and I've been living in London, in the UK, for more than 27 years. Michael, sorry, I'm just autistic. Ah, okay, I get it. Okay, I understand. Okay, in that case, we can have a conversation. Okay, so when people are autistic, very often they need facts. So I understand. My husband is on the autism spectrum. I get it. We can have a conversation, but knowing that you're autistic is going to be a little bit little bit tricky because your mind needs fact and finds it very difficult to be agile enough to do without them. And so I'm not putting you down. My husband does that all the time. We have good conversations. I'm very, very familiar with that. Yeah, we can actually, it's possible to get there at some point. So maybe let's try. Now that I know that you are on the autism spectrum, it changes everything. And so if you want, we can talk about this. Because here you go. For the fact that you are autistic, your reality is different than other people as well. The way we're going to... I need you to give me an example. If you can give me an example, maybe I can find different ways to interpret that same example. A, can't tell. He gives dad energy. Who, me? Okay, fair enough. Head-butting bullet. How to deal with fear of rejection and fear of letting people close. Okay, let's talk about this. The fear of rejection comes from a very normal, primary, basic evolutionary trait. We need to belong in a tribe, otherwise we won't make it. And so because of that, even the way our brain is designed makes rejection very, very painful. The part of the brain that processes rejection is next to the part of the brain that processes pain. So you literally feel pain, physical pain and emotional pain when you experience rejection, because it is very important for us to belong to a tribe, so that we are not going to not survive. And so how to deal with rejection? Many of us have different level of fear of rejection, depending on our mental makeup. And so if you are neurodivergent, if you have conditions like ADHD or borderline personality disorder, or there'll be an obsession over rejection, so that'll be taking it to the next level. But if it's just rejection as in low self-esteem and lack of confidence, we can talk about this. Right? If you have a condition, you want to address the condition. Or there's no mindset hack that can help you if you have a condition that makes you feel insecure and paranoid. But if you just have general fear of rejection because you're not sure about yourself, you want to realize that rejection, the fear of rejection, is also contextual. Can you give me some example of what sort of rejection you suffer from? Is it romantic rejection? Is it rejection to do with the things that you do? What scenarios have you got in your mind? And to which level of intensity does it affect your life? But generally speaking, the fear of rejection goes with the belief that you're not enough. I'm not enough, I'm not worthy, I'm not going to make it, I'm not capable. And so there's a part of you that is creating the fear of rejection to protect you. The fear of rejection is not bad. Originally, it is a system that exists because you have suffered from something, and it's there to remind you that that thing is not available to you. And so if you go too close to that thing, you will be burnt again. So the fear of rejection is coming from a good place. It doesn't want you to get hurt again. The fear is to keep you away from that thing that your subconscious mind believes is not available to you and will hurt you if you get too close to it. And so, can you tell me more about yourself so I can give you something more specific, perhaps? Fear of letting people close is the same, so this is it. So now, actually, I should have read that before. That tells me what sort of rejection you are talking about. You're talking about romantic relationship, right? Do correct me if I'm wrong. But if you have a fear of rejection when it comes to romantic relationships, it's because you believe that love is not available to you. Or maybe you believe that being in a happy, lasting, safe relationship is not available to you. Whatever it is, there's something about what you want that your subconscious mind is afraid of. And so the fear of rejection is there to protect you from it. And it's all down, of course, to whatever happened to you in your childhood or even recently, if you had any sort of trauma in relationships. And so what you want to do is to find a way to remind yourself that that system is here to protect you, but it doesn't say the truth. It doesn't mean that it's the truth. So you can, there's a lot of different ways. Again, it depends on your mental makeup and your history. So I would need to know a bit more about yourself. But what you want to do is to basically challenge your own thoughts. Whenever you have a fear of rejection, it's an emotion, it's a feeling that is taking over your body. And so you're going to think about that emotion, that feeling, and the thought is going to be, I can't do this, it's too scary, I'm not enough, or any of those things. So what you can do is to remind yourself, because I'm feeling this, doesn't mean that. Your feeling is just a system that is there, again, to remind you, to protect you from something from the past to happen again. And so try this. Tell yourself, because I'm feeling this, doesn't mean that I'm not enough. Because I'm feeling this doesn't mean that I'm going to be rejected. Doesn't mean that, and that may help you. But also, you want to change the definition of rejection itself. Rejection is a horrible word, but you could actually, again, we're talking about how there's no such thing as one universal truth, only your perception of it. And so rejection can be seen from a better perspective. You can tell yourself, if that thing doesn't work, if that person rejects me, it doesn't mean that I am inferior. It doesn't mean that I am to feel ashamed of myself. It means that that person was not for me. It's that rejection is redirection. Try this. Rejection doesn't imply that you should feel ashamed of yourself, which is why we are terrified of most things. It's because of some shadow parts that we are ashamed of and we're trying to repress and keep away from. So remind yourself, rejection is redirection. There are millions of people. Try to talk to people. If that person rejects you, they may reject you, but it's okay. You don't have to feel bad about it, because it only means that they were not the right people for you. And so you try again until you meet the right people, or until you also find a way to be more relaxed with yourself, and you also change through the process of meeting different people. Does it help headbutting a bullet? Tiger Morph, do you think we will be able to upload our consciousness and leave our mortal bodies and be able to travel through space as a new species? I don't know if it's going to be possible. Maybe, who knows? But I don't believe that's something that we should be doing. I believe that our consciousness is already doing this. I believe that our consciousness is always traveling from one dimension to other. I believe that our consciousness is infinite. I believe that we don't need to do anything about it because we are it already. I believe that we are infinite consciousness, but we have decided to experience the human experience, to find out what it is to be a human being, to be self, to have our baggage or start in life or family or physical element or whatever that it is, and to experience what it is. This is what we're about. We come into this life to experience ourselves in that dimension and on that planet at that moment. And so for this to happen, we need to forget that we are infinite consciousness. If we know that we are God, then we won't be able to know how it feels to be human, to know how it feels to be helpless, to be fearful, to be angry, and all those things. And so the way that I explain it is like that. When you are born, you are waking up from a dream. And when you die, you just fall asleep. And then this continues. And we change realms, dimensions, realities, and this keeps going on forever. And so within the dream of the human, maybe some people want to expand their humanity because they have really forgotten that they are infinite. But because I remember this, I believe in that, I don't feel that there's any need to do that. This is what people come up from the place of the ego, from the place of the human being. But if you can learn how to elevate your perspective and look at things from the perspective of the universe, then you realize that this is only what the human wants. I can see the bigger picture, so I don't need it. I am it already. I hope it makes sense. And also, if our human adventure was infinite as a human being, there will be no value to it. The whole point of life is that it is ephemeral. So there's a beginning, There's a whole journey to explore and reflect back on. Redskin, thank you for your time. I will be back. Thank you, Redskin. Michael, I do understand that most of the world subjective, that most of the world is subjective. I just believe a lot of people think their truth are fact, and there is difference between objective and subjective. It's an illusion. It's an illusion. How can I explain this? I'm going to you may get triggered by that conversation coming, but it's very similar to that. There's no such thing as free will. And this is something that is very, very, very much backed up by a lot of science. So basically, we like to believe that we have a free will. And the truth is that there's a little bit of it, but for the vast majority of us, for the vast majority of time, we don't have access to free will. Why? Because we operate on an automatic pilot that is subconscious and emotional. And so whatever that whichever way that we react, sorry about that, is down to the emotional setup that we have. So emotions, basically, the emotional mind is in charge, not the rational mind. The emotions come first, not only in evolution, like throughout time, but also how our brain is formed, and also how we operate. So basically, we feel things based on reflexes, based on triggers, because we are reactive. We're designed to react. We react to emotionally to everything that is happening outside and inside of us all the time. And so as we react, now we're feeling an emotion. That emotion is going to dictate a behavior, action, reaction, or inaction. And then next, our rational mind is going to justify, back up, and support that action. It's going to try to rationalize what we've done. But what we've done was always emotional first and foremost. And so in that sense, there's no free will. We all react all day long through everything that we're going through. We have a plan, an idea of who we are, what we should be doing in this life, what today is going to be made up, at what time we feel what. And then when things are happening around us, we need to react based on our program. And whenever we have some emotions, feelings, or thoughts inside of us, we're going to also react to those emotions, feelings, and thoughts based on our program. And so we don't have free will. A very eminent philosopher called Schopenhauer used to say, you can do what you want, but you cannot want what you want. And so we are at the mercy of the randomness of the universe. Everything, there's no such thing as a coincidence, as in hazardous. I think someone said that coincidence is originally a mathematical term that demonstrates when two angles of a triangle are going to meet. So it was always going to happen. I think the quote that I want to say is that there's no such thing as randomness. There's only a lack of information. Because we are prepared by our system and others are, and the universe itself, everything is connected to everything. It's the law of cause and effect, the butterfly and the hurricane phenomenon. And so if we don't have free will for the vast majority of time, for the vast majority of us, then it means that also the reality that we're exposed to is based to what we believe is the reality. The truth that the thing that we call fact are also the result of that program. We are the program. And so depending on the program that we have, we'll have a different interpretation of the events in our lives. And so everything is subjective. There's no such thing as objective. There's only a subconscious need to overpower other people by creating the narrative of objective versus subjective. In my world, from my perspective, it's all about empathy, understanding, connection, and healing. And for this to happen, we must understand that there's no such thing as objective. There's only what we call objective in this moment because of how we feel about it, because of our program. I just believe a lot of people think that truth are facts and there's difference between objective and subjective. I do agree with you that a lot of people think that the truth are facts. Indeed, this is exactly what I'm saying. And it's not. It is only their facts, their truth, their objective. Objective and subjective is only the judgment that some people are going to put on others' truth. That's it. Michael, Upon rejection, attachment is the source of suffering. You are not entitled to anything, so be grateful for what you have or have had. This is how you rationalize it. But a lot of people suffer from rejection emotionally. There's no cognitive. Again, as I said, we feel first and then we rationalize how we feel. And so when we talk about belief, this is that. And we need to explain things from the cognitive perspective, and that's what I'm doing. But for many people, the rejection is in your nervous system. It's a visceral reaction based on your trauma, based on unhealed emotional wounds from the past. And so for a lot of people, this is where we want to address, this is the language that we want to use to address that problem. Right? I understand where you're coming from, but it's not, what I'm trying to say is that it's not that simple and straightforward for everyone. Having said that, I do understand that when you say rejection is attachment, it's true. From a spiritual Buddhist perspective, if you can learn how to not attach yourself to things, then you wouldn't feel rejected. I agree with that. If you don't attach yourself to expectations, to your ego, to the insecurities that you have borrowed from your parents, then that wouldn't affect you. I agree with you. I'm glad we agree on something. But it's just the tone when you say you're not entitled to anything, so be grateful for what you have. This kind of, because some people really suffer from trauma and depression and anxiety. And if you tell them, be grateful for what you have, now we are not validating how we feel. If people are fearing rejection because they have other conditions, then it's not kind to them. And for me, kindness is the most important thing if you want to help someone. But I know that, again, you said that you're autistic, so it makes sense that it's all about facts, and you don't mean to be unkind. Sometimes you may express yourself in ways that may brush other people's, how do you say, brush their hair, their feather. I forgot about the expression in English. But basically make them feel unhappy. And so, yeah, that's what I had to make sure that we're reminded to do our best to be as kind as possible in the way we express ourselves. But again, I understand that you don't come from you're not doing it on purpose. Sam, or dodge a bullet. Hey. Sam said hi. Hello, Sam. Hope you are doing good, Didi. I'm doing very well. How about you? Kamaoko. Hi, Japanese man. I'm not Japanese. Kamaoko, are you? By the name? I don't know. Haha, South Africa. What would the point of it being forever, my beautiful person? Yes, I agree with you. If life was going on forever, then we get bored. We'll have no sense of urgency. And everything will start to blend and merge and become the same once we've done everything. Yeah. The whole point of life is its urgency. Tiger Morph. But our ego is the only thing we can truly experience. No, I can talk about this. So this is a good conversation. Without our ego, the world wouldn't exist. Sometimes I even think this whole world is just my imagination. This would even explain the concept of God. Okay, this is a very good conversation. Let's talk about this. Your ego is only one perspective. For some, it's the only perspective that we will all that we will have. But some of us can have other perspective than that of the ego. So the ego is the perspective of the human being, of who you are, of yourself, of the collection of traits that you have, that you believe are part of your personality, and all of those things. And this is basically how we go through the world. This is me, this is them, I am like that, they're like them, this is what I should be doing, and so forth and so on. But we can actually learn how to detach ourselves from our ego through the practice of mindfulness and meditation. We can learn how to observe ourselves from the outside. So when we do this, we are no longer, in that moment, the ego. We are the observer. We can look at ourselves. We can say, okay, this is me. This is my ego. This is me as a human being with all my insecurities, my trauma, my baggage, my past, my suffering. And if you can do this, then for one moment, you're experiencing the perspective of God, because you are no longer limited by the confines of the human belief and the suffering and everything that comes with the human condition. And so your ego is only one perspective, and for some people it will be the only perspective they will only have. But in the conversation of spirituality, there's often a reference of the higher self. And this is it. The higher self is the version of you that can see things from a broader perspective, not from the cage that your body is, You're not just a body, a human, and everything is happening around you. You're not in the eye of the storm always. You can come out and you can see yourself being in the storm and observing yourself from the outside. And so that's just to demonstrate how we can learn how to see things from different perspectives. It's possible. And then next you say, without our ego, the world wouldn't exist. Yes, the world would exist. The world has existed for a long time before humans existed. I think we kind of agree on that. The world didn't start to exist without the humans. But I understand that there's something else coming up. You say, I even think this whole world is just my imagination. And so this is a theory. There's a theory indeed that says that your world, your reality is all your dream. There's nothing that is real, only your imagination of it. And if you think about it, there's nothing in the world that could actually demonstrate otherwise. So what I'm trying to say is that what you see in me, I am your imagination. Everything that you see, everything that you experience, everyone in your life, they're all part of your imagination. And they don't exist, right? And it sounds like a very wacky kind of thought, but it's actually quite credible. And there's nothing and no one that can say otherwise. If there's someone in your reality that is saying it's not true, even that is an illusion that you have created for your own adventure, story, life. And so that is actually a possible perspective of what life and reality is. This would even explain the concept of God. So yes, I'm not sure how you mean by explain the concept of God, but we can pursue that conversation if you wish. Michael, message retracted. Michael, I agree. There's no free will. We are not the only architects of our demise or happiness. Okay. And you are correct on the gratitude aspect of my other statement of rejection. These are the rational / coping mechanism I use for my own losses. Okay, thank you, Michael. Thank you for a great level of self-awareness. Not everyone has it, and if you are autistic, it's even more commendable for you to have that level of self-awareness. Sam, it's great to be able to just break away from ego. Ego is limiting. Yes, I mean, here's the thing. It is limiting compared to what you could do. But at the same time, if your life journey is to be that and to just experience your ego, it's okay. It is valid as a life experience. We come into this life to experience ourselves. So everything is valid. Everything is an experience. However, some of us are lucky enough, have the ability to expand our perspective. And if we are so, it's a great thing. But we don't want to look down on others who don't. We don't want to look down on others who are not able to do that. They are going through their own journey. We are going through ours. And if we are judging them in that moment, we are the ego. So we have failed our pursuit of spiritual development. Tagamorph, I can't imagine how you would detach your ego from yourself. To me, that would mean insanity. Now, through meditation, through whenever you are self-reflecting, whenever you are looking inward, you may think, okay, now instead of me reacting to the world outside, I'm going to calm myself down, close my eyes, and think about going inward. And if you do this, you can develop a skill to actually be present. And in that moment, you can observe things without reacting to them. You can observe things without having to judge them, without having to control them, without having to analyze them or to change them. You can accept, and this is what you're observing, and this is what the practice of meditation is about. It's a skill that you can develop over time. It doesn't happen like that, but it's precisely what mindfulness and meditation do. They teach you how to expand your very reality by not always being limited by the confines of your ego and the automatic subconscious program that is running your life. Sam, I believe separating from ego can build resilience, grit, hard work, ethic, and empathy, not to mention different perspective. So this is not the goal for us, because again, everything that you mention are goals that the ego wants. The ego wants to be better, stronger, more successful. It wants to have resilience, grit, hard work, ethic, right? When when you are separating yourself from the ego, you don't operate from the same set of rules. And so when you observe yourself, you actually let go of the judgment. You let go of the need to achieve anything. You let go of expectations. You let go of insecurities. You let go of anything that is related to the ego. Now, having said that, it's true that learning how to, just to go along with what you say, learning how to practice mindfulness and meditation on a different conversation can also do all those things, right? It can absolutely teach you how to be more resilient, focused, successful, and all those things that you talk about. But the original point of that is not for that. It's really to expand ourselves. But some people do that. Some people who are, let's say, high achievers, they learn how to meditate to be more focused and better at what they do in terms of productivity and decisions making and intuition. Michael, at Sam, ego is the poison of growth. So it is the poison of spiritual growth. However, if you want to grow as a human being, as an ego, as an ego, you can grow. This is the thing. Again, everything is contextual. Everything is relative. And so, as an ego, as a person, if I want to grow, if I want to grow my fame, if I want to be more successful, if I want more people to love me, if I want to have more money, if I want to collect more rewards, medals, achievements, and trophies, I can. The ego can help you do that, right? By developing different systems that will help you achieve that. But I think that what you mean, and I would agree with that, is that when it comes to spiritual growth, the ego is the opposite of it. So I would agree with that, if that's what you mean. Sam, of course. Okay, thank you. Lucky Charm Mallows. Oh, Didi, it's super late where I am, so I have to go to sleep. But it is wonderful to see you. Love your content. Thank you so much, Lucky Charm Mallows. I wish you a good night, and hopefully we can catch up some other times. Sam, it's an emotion-based form of thinking, I believe. What are we talking about? What is an emotion-based form of thinking? I don't understand this, because for me, emotions and thinking are two different things. I think maybe what you're saying is that there's the language of emotions and the language of thought, and they're two different things. If you said that, then I would agree with that, even though I don't understand the context at this point in time. Michael, at Sam, yes, 100%. Okay. Tiger Moth, so you mean more like contemplation through meditation? Yes, as one of the many ways to do this. But I find it hard to prove that your ego isn't involved at all. But maybe you have a different understanding of ego. So you're right. There's a lot of different interpretations of ego. And so what does ego mean to you? Ego, to me, means the perspective of the human being. That's it. And it comes with everything that it entails. And so there's a part of you that will protect yourself against the others. The ego is I. So what it means is that if there's an I, there's something else that is not I, but it's not me. So there's the other, there's the rest of me, there's the rest of the world. And so ego creates a separation. Ego is the idea that I am an entity and everything else is opposite to me, is different. The opposite of the ego is going to be observing that everything is one mass of energy. Everything is connected and everything is working together. So there's no good or bad. And there's no need to protect. There's no need to protect always. Right? And so that's what the ego is. But I understand that there's a lot of different understanding of what the word ego means. And so when we are able to let go of all of our insecurities, let go of all of our wounds and trauma, accept ourselves fully, unconditionally, and also as we're accepting ourselves unconditionally, we're able to accept others. Then we're dissolving that illusion of separation. And that's where we are no longer limited by our ego. Sam, I agree with what you said, Didi. I'm just very bad at explaining things in writing. Okay, no worries, no worries. I'm here for the conversation, so I will go back and forth like that. And thank you for agreeing. The ego prefers to react. This is true, yes. The ego is reactive, because it's limited by the human shell, which is operated by emotional subconscious programs. I'm just realizing that the alarm was telling me to put my post So I'm going to do this at the same time. My first post on TikTok. Okay. That's out. Michael, it's late here in New Zealand. I appreciate your time and perspective. Hope to catch you again. Thank you so much, Michael. Thank you. Thank you. We didn't get to go into the depth of the first original conversation about how facts, there's no such thing as universal truth and fact. But I hope that, I like to believe that we come to some place of agreement, and maybe we can pursue that conversation some other time, if you wish. Good night to you, and see you next. Is there any other questions, comments, conversations you'd like me to go on? It's 12 o'clock, lunchtime in the UK right now. And so I don't know who's around. But if I don't get interaction within a couple of minutes, I will just resume my day and I can come back some other time. For those who are not familiar to my channel, I'm talking about psychology and mental health. Sam, how's the weather down south, bud? It's very nice. It's very sunny and lovely, and I'm looking forward to go outside and make the most of the day as well. R.C. Campbell, hello, Old Sport. Hello. Sam, last 2 weeks have been great, haven't they? Yes, so you are in the UK as well. Yes, it's been, yes, May this year has been glorious so far. I'm looking forward to a very hot summer, I believe, unlike last year. Tagamov, psychology or philosophy more? Psychology more. To be honest with you, there's a lot of connection. I mean, the way that I see it is that philosophy was psychology before before they had some better information. But even psychology is always evolving. But yeah, my point is to try to help people, and so in that sense, psychology is more useful than philosophy. Philosophy is an exercise to get your mind to be more agile, so you can think different perspective, but it's not really helpful. Psychology, on the other hand, understands the human condition and provide some effective systems to make you feel better. So that's the difference. Tiger Moth. Jewel G. Who is that in the background behind you? In the black and white picture is my mom and dad when they got married before I was born, a long time ago. Sam, Scotland. Yes, UK. Okay. Girlfriend will be here in June from Mexico. Looking forward to it a lot. Okay, okay. Yeah, it's going to be hot. Probably not as hot as Mexico, but still hot in a UK standard. R.C. Campbell. Is that a pic of your mom and dad in background? Yes, it is. Thank you. R.C. Campbell. Great photo of your folks. Thank you so much. Joel, I love that you care about your parents. Yes, yes. I had a terrible childhood. And this is why I'm doing this. I've come to terms with it. I've done my work. It took me a lifetime to get there, but I'm really at peace with both of my parents. And this is why I'm putting this as a tribute to them, but also to my journey, to the whole of it, understanding that whatever I've been through was part of my journey. And whatever they put me through was part of their journey. And I accept this now and understand it, and I have no ill energy in my body anymore. And so this is my tribute to the whole of it, the acceptance of peace for myself. I have reconnected with my mum. My dad is in heaven, but I love my mum now, despite everything. We had a lot of clashes all of our lives, and I'm proud of everything. I love everything about her, even though, despite everything, especially for everything, because now I can see her whole story. I'm a therapist, and I can imagine what she's been through. I can understand what she felt and why she ended up like that. And her parents as well, everyone. And so this is really, really, indeed, an important picture for me. It says so much more than just my parents getting married. Tiger Morph, thanks for the talk. Wish you a good day. Thank you so much, Tiger Morph. Have a great day, and see you next time. Sam, yeah, she came in April last year. Was all rain. Hoping it stays this way. Getting married soon. All right, okay. Congratulations on that. It's a great event, isn't it? I wish you all the best with it. We can talk about relationships if you want. Relationship involves a lot of psychological information to ensure its prosperity. Joel, true maturity, dear friend. Yes, thank you. Emotional maturity. Yeah. I've done my work, and I still have now my conditions because my brain has developed in certain ways. But it's absolutely possible to change and create a lifestyle and a system that works for us, no matter what we've been through in childhood. Sam, I've got a good book here by a psychologist about relationships. Okay? Okay. Do you want to share with us what insight you get from that book? Or do you want to ask me maybe my opinion on some of the things that you may have read in that book? When it comes to relationship, most people have problems with them for all sorts of different reasons. The first one is because they have their own emotional baggage that is going to interfere with how they read the environment, with how they read information, with how we're going to understand what the other person is doing or saying. So there's a lot of communication mismatch. But also, there's a lot of belief about relationships that create problem. And so with belief comes expectations. We have a lot of limiting belief, toxic, outdated, pointless belief that creates a lot of expectations and a lot of assumptions. And because of those unmet expectations and assumptions, no, because of the assumptions, we create unmet expectations. And as a result, we create clashes, discrepancies, heartbreak, sadness, anger, and all those things. John Gottman. Let me try and see. John Gottman, American psychologist. I know John Gottman. I know John Gottman from the Gottman Institute. So yes, he is indeed a very, very prominent figure in psychology in regards to relationships. Yes, I follow the stuff of his company and his stuff as well. So yes, yes, very good. Good on you. Good on you. You have my stamp of approval because there's a lot of people out there, a lot of books, and sometimes when it comes to information, it can be a bit dodgy at times. But yes, John Gottman, you can't go wrong with him. I don't think that I've ever come across anything that I felt I didn't agree with him. R.C. Campbell, I am damaged beyond repair. Lol. You can talk about this if you want. I'm a therapist and coach. I do this as a living, and I was a very different person up to the age of 38. I have many conditions. I have BPD, bipolar, ADHD, CPTSD, and I used to be addicted to class A drugs and alcohol, amongst other things, for all those years. And now I'm super zen, very happy. But I used to believe also that I was damaged beyond repair. R.C. Campbell, I've got to go. Have a great day. Okay, fantastic. Have a great day yourself. I wish you all the best. Okay, just so you know, guys, I'm going to leave that video behind. I always leave my lives on YouTube on my profile. So if you have found anything that I said interesting, you can always replay that video once it's out. Yeah, I'm gonna come back sometime next week. Good morning, Jen. Good morning, Jen. Is there anything you'd like to cover briefly before I go? I'm happy to stay a bit longer, but it depends on the flow of conversation. Thank you for yesterday. It made a huge difference. Fantastic, Jen. I'm so glad it did. I'm so happy with this. You know what? I think I'm going to go. I'm going to go and enjoy the day. I'm going to wish you all a great day or great evening wherever you are in the world. I will come back next week live on YouTube. And if you use TikTok, I am also on TikTok. I do live there as well. I post content and live on both platforms. That's it. If you need any, if you want to connect to my TikTok or any other channels, there are links on my videos. I don't know if you need to copy and paste them, but there's also on my bio on YouTube the link to my website if you need any more details about me as a therapist and coach. Other than that, that's it. Sam, have a good day. Thank you, Jen, Steven. Have a wonderful day. Thank you so much, guys. I love you all. Take care. Look after yourselves. Have a fantastic day. And I'll see you next. Okay.